It's the next level.
See for yourself.
Wait, who said that?
It was that ghost.
Oh, damn. Hey, would somebody turn me around? We messed up my entrance. You know, I need to get this thing motorized. Hey!
Scott! Scott!
Lang?
No way.
Oh, look at you.
I know what you're thinking. I've lost weight. Thank you for noticing. But don't worry, I'm not gonna let it go to my head.
Hey panelers, welcome back to the show. I'm Mark.
And I'm Steve.
And this week we're going to be doing a spoiler-full podcast about the third episode. Or is it the third? It's the fourth.
Fifth episode.
Fifth! Oh, okay. Fifth. I read it wrong. Episode of Marvel's What If. And it's entitled What If Zombies? So, Steve, you want to take us away with that synopsis that we have?
Oh yeah, the wonderful synopsis of when the Avengers are infected by a zombie plague, surviving heroes search for a cure. And that's my fault, Mark. I had not changed.
It's okay.
So
it's fun.
I'll take the hit on that one.
No, it's fine. Yeah, it's the fifth episode where we're getting pretty far into it too. And you know, this is one that a lot of people I know have been looking forward to, including myself, yourself, people that we know within the group, within the Z-Heads from, you know, Jason's Walking Dead cast Patreon. And we all love zombies, and I've been looking forward to this for a long time. So what were your initial thoughts?
Just another great episode. They just keep getting better and better. And, I got sucked into the misdirect about Thor being in this one. I even had an image that I had thought was a spoiler image that I put in our post this week. And of course I got rid of it after I realized that Thor's not in this one. So, it's one of those things that I'm just, I'm going to not try to, I don't know. I'm just going to try not to take anything for granted at this point, because next week could be anything.
It could be anything, yeah.
The screen grabs I saw showed Tony Stark, but who knows if that's what they're actually going to do.
Yeah.
So, this one was wild. I loved it because after the depressing, dark ending of the last one, we kind of get this lighthearted. I mean, I hate to say lighthearted when it's zombies and our heroes are dead, but yeah, we kind of get a more humorous episode, and so it was great.
Yeah, awesome. Well, my thoughts, I just loved it. I've been waiting for this episode since I saw the actual sneak peek last year with the trailer for what we were in for with What If and for the What If series, and I just really have been anticipating this. I really wanted to see this. And I love the nods that we get from the comic as well as the visualization. Honestly, this is a Disney Plus Marvel animated show, and there's only so much they could do, but I think they really did it very well with not as much gore. It has that zombie aspect of it, so at least kids could watch it. I think that's why they had the humor in the movie itself or the show, and I really enjoyed that aspect. And the fact that you could watch it as a family, depending on the age of the child and whoever is actually involved with the, with the episode. And, families could watch it together, I guess. And I just love the Easter eggs and references to the MCU itself, which we will go further within our discussion as we talk about this, because there's so many that we just do callbacks from different movies. Yep. All right, so with that, we should move into our top fives.
Absolutely.
Last year, Mr. Stark asked me to join the Avengers. I turned him down, and now they're all gone. And I'm still here.
In my culture, death is not the end. They are still with us, as long as we do not forget them.
Plus, they're not all gone. Me. You still have me.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot.
Is it my
turn?
turn?
I go ahead and I think it's my turn to start.
Okay, good.
Okay. I love that opening, that we get that kind of same opening from Infinity War where Hulk falls through the roof, of the mansion there, and he's the whole Thanos is coming thing. And I love that, not wanting to come out of Bruce in the fight, just like in the movie was great. But then when Ma and his buddy show up, it's a different Avengers that kind of attack him, and they take him out. I mean, they take him out pretty easily using those spells and stuff. And Iron Man just coming right up behind him and just shooting him in the back of the head was just, and then it was gruesome without being bloody and gory.
Yeah.
And I love seeing like Strange and Wong doing spells as zombies. I love the cape coming in to rescue Bruce. The cape, Doctor Strange's cape has become a character of its own in the movie and in this series a couple of times now. So it was really great to see that. And then of course, Wasp and Spider-Man showing up was just amazing. And Bruce's whole "don't eat me" thing as he's being flown through the city, being carried by Spider-Man was just great. Yeah, that whole opening was just really cool.
Yeah, it was. To add on to Wong, and if you remember in Infinity War, what is it, Call Obsidian? He cuts his arm off or his hand off. And then in this case, something happens where Wong's head gets cut off at a certain point too. So it happens in the opposite.
Yeah.
I love that. I just love that whole aspect of it. My thoughts, my number 5 would be the overall outcome and how it started. I just loved it completely. I loved it. It was during Infinity War that this all happened. So we get Ebony Maw, or as I like to call him, Ebony Naw, after he became a zombie.
Oh.
And we got Call Obsidian. So we get that whole exchange at that point. But also, Banner is found alone in the Sanctum Sanctorum instead of seeing Strange and Wong in the Infinity War like we did in the original movie itself. He's alone. And it's kind of like 28 days later, he's out there in the middle of nothing in Manhattan. And he has to put on the wardrobe of kind of like what Strange had to do when he was learning to be a mage. And I thought that was pretty cool. It's funny how he tries to Hulk out, but like in the original Infinity War, he can't do it. And he slaps himself to get him to Hulk out. And instead of that one where he's in, after Spider-Man saves him, he's smacking him, "Oh, come out, come out." And then the Hulk goes, "No!" We get it differently in this case, but it's the same kind of dialogue that we get. And I really enjoyed that because it's a nice callback to that. Then we get, we had the Iron Man repulsor blast killing Ma. Now, that came out of Strange's, little spell where it comes through. And if you see 3 people come out. And just like at the very end of Endgame, when Strange does his little circle things where he brings everybody through a portal, we don't get the people that we saw in Endgame. We literally get Iron Man, Black Panther, Okoye. Oh, no. In Endgame, we got Cap, Black Panther, and Okoye. I'm getting it mixed up. And then in this case, we get Strange, we get Iron Man, we get Wong. And then they're the one that take out Ma and Obsidian. And I thought that was pretty interesting because it's kind of reflective to that, but in a different take. And then, then we get Spider-Man whispering away Banner to safety after Hope helps out with the huge ants that devour those zombies. And I thought that was pretty cool. It makes me think, do those ants turn? Because, but, unless they're going the same tropes of with The Walking Dead or any zombie lore, animals don't go. But then again, that doesn't really discount Train to Busan when you had a deer that was a zombie. So, but the whole beginning I thought was great. I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah. So my next one is, it was nice, and we talked a little bit about this before we started recording. It was nice to have kind of a fun one.
Yeah.
After the last week's, dark and depressing tale there. I laughed as Zombie Happy, even as a Zombie Happy still going blam, blam. I don't know what it means about me that I thought the zombie one was fun, but that's our group. And again, it's I've talked about it before with the MCU, is that they have this great way of being able to meld the humor and the drama and the action together. That is always really cool, even though we have this tragic, and I'll talk some more about the tragic way some of these heroes end up going out. But it was nice to have a little bit of a lighter, kind of tale, and the puns from Scott's head were great. But I kept trying to figure out at the very end there, when they're going away, somebody bounces off the plane.
Yes,
and
they
falls
do.
And I kept trying to figure out who that was, or if that was just some random.
I'm hoping
guy
it's some random person, because I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out where he came from. Was he hanging on to the plane or what?
No,
But,
I think giant woman or zombie giant woman threw that person at the plane.
Okay,
yeah,
that may be. I was really just confused with that part, but yeah, that was my number 4. Just the whole mixing of the humor and stuff with the tragic events that we got.
cool. Well, my number 4 would be the history of the plague, as it were. In the comics, this was brought back to Earth from a Watcher from Earth Z dimension. So, as we all know, or if you don't know, this What If Zombies episode is based upon Robert Kirkman's comic through Marvel. It was just after he released The Walking Dead. Marvel approached him, and he did that and created this whole world with the Marvel Universe as when they're becoming zombies. And the Watcher in that particular universe sent out a Centurion from Earth 2149. Then the virus spread within that particular universe. So it's weird because you got a Watcher who sent it in the comic. But for the show adaptation, it was interesting how they did this and they utilized it. They used the quantum realm to spread it from Janet Van Dyne because she was stuck in the quantum realm. So with that, you don't know what's going on within the quantum realm. So apparently there are a lot of diseases, everything from other universes. So she obviously contracted it, bit Hank. Hank was able to go back into his own universe and then, basically infect everybody. He bit Cap on the neck as a little ant, and then that spread it to everybody else. But within this particular universe, we get all these heroes with all these powers now, and being zombified at that point. And I thought that was a pretty cool take on it and a good adaptation based upon what Robert had created within that. The only difference, though, within this particular universe, in the comic, they had a conscience. They were aware. They were able to vocalize. And it was based upon hunger. The hunger. And in this, no, it's just them being typical zombies that we're all used to. Like the Romero-style zombies or the Walking Dead-style zombies. Or even Zombieland kind of zombies. Where they don't have, like, vocalization. In Zombieland, they actually did have, like, with the clown. He was kind of formidable at that point with the mallet and everything. He was aware. These zombies are aware, and they're aware of their own powers. So I thought that was pretty interesting, the fact that we get that.
Yeah, it was a cool take on it that they were able to use their powers as zombies. So my next one is real quick. It's just something. This is another one I watched 3 times again this week, and the images that we get at the end are so cool and atmospheric, and just, some of them are like alternate perspectives of scenes from within the episode. And I just like the artistic way that they present those images to us. And I love watching those end credits every week because they're just so great.
Yeah. That would lead me to my number 3. And I just love the whole Zombieland video montage that Peter Parker did. It's basically Banner's introduction, how to survive the zombie apocalypse at that point. And then he uses key references. You got, the Winter Soldier. You got Sharon Carter. Kurt was in there too from Ant-Man, and he's got his ex-con tag on his uniform too, still from Ant-Man and the Wasp, if you think, because they were still building that, so we know it's within that time frame. I noticed how he doesn't wear his mask. Peter doesn't wear the mask from Spider-Man at all because he doesn't really care who knows who he is because of the zombie plague. Everybody's pretty much dead in his eyes. The video was done in the same vein as when he did his video in the diary for in the beginning of Spider-Man Homecoming, when he, catalogs the his adventures during Civil War and how he talks about and how Happy intrudes, but then he kind of references Happy, and I forget what it says about Thor. It was funny on his shirt.
Oh yeah. It was something like I'm saving myself for Thor, or something, something like that. I'm not single. I'm saving myself.
So for Thor, exactly. Yeah, I thought that was cute.
This was in my notes too. Just the whole video thing that Peter's showing him, and I love the introduction of each of the characters, like you said, of Kurt and Happy. Boxer, driver. Sharon, good eulogies, that kind of stuff. And what was it for Winter Soldier?
He's a heavy sleeper.
Heavy sleeper, killer, and robot arm or metal arm, something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty funny as hell, and I just love that. It's like it had that cute take from Zombieland, which I enjoyed very much. So it had the humor within it, but it pictured Peter just living his life within it too, and I think it kind of centered on key characters. If you think about it, Hope Van Dyne, you got Peter, and then there were everybody else. Like, there's kind of a twist of fate within this in comparison to the actual comic for Marvel Zombies with the Hulk, and I found it very intriguing. So we'll get into that more later within my notes. But your number two?
My number two is just how sad and tragic it was, and we talked a little how each of the different heroes kind of gets taken out. You already talked about Cap. He gets bit, and then he turns into a zombie, and that's kind of why it spread so quickly because of their powers. The Wasp, takes out Zombie Stark. The ants kind of take out different things. It looked like the Cape may have killed Strange or Wong itself.
Oh wow!
Sharon, gets turned into a zombie by Cap, and then Wasp goes up inside her and blows up. Bucky takes out Cap with his own shield. Hope sacrifices herself, and so does Hulk. I'm assuming.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, we don't know because
that's a cliffhanger.
Maybe, he might have survived that Wanda fight between him and Wanda. And Vision, of course, kills himself by removing the Mind Stone from his own forehead.
Which Shadow is pretty much almost like Endgame. Not Endgame. Infinity War.
Infinity War.
Yeah. When Thanos takes it out, he turns gray, so he dies from it. But he did it himself in sacrifice, which I thought was pretty cool. Very much similar to what Wanda was doing, because Vision at this point in this particular story was for his love for Wanda and trying to keep her and try to save her, but he went mad scientist on this at this point, and I think he realized that towards the end, and that's why he helped out in the very end and taking the Mind Stone out from his head and handing it over, because it was a way for them to help out, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that leads me into my number two, which was Vision's plan to help Wanda and try to save her. Very much like him during WandaVision, but in the reversal. So, and we already covered that in WandaVision. Everybody knows that. So if you haven't, go back, listen. We had a great time doing it. But, the one cool thing, though, aspect out of it, and I'll leave it off at this, he was feeding people to Wanda to still keep, her alive, as it were. And that was very interesting. It kind of references to something that happened in the comic, but the big difference is Giant Man, who is Hank Pym in the comic, was capturing people and literally keeping them alive, but cutting them and eating them himself. Okay. And we get that reference within this with T'Challa, because and I think T'Challa said, I thought he was trying to save me, but I think he needed a snack pack or something. And in this case, very much like within the comic, T'Challa has no leg. But in the in this version he has just no leg, but in the comic he has no leg and no right leg and no right arm. And Hank was feeding himself and basically keeping him alive so that way he could easily just chow down and continue to live based upon that hunger. In this case, these zombies don't talk, and it's pretty cool. And the difference, the fact that, it was meant for a certain purpose for somebody else, not just for themselves. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I had that, the whole thing between Wanda and Vision, I was a little confused. And I think what I took from it was that he knew he couldn't cure her necessarily, or maybe he was trying to cure her, but he was really trying to keep her in check because he knew how powerful she was, that as a zombie, if she got out, she could destroy the world. So
True.
That's kind of what I took from it. But that leads us to my number one, and it's another quick one. That zombie Thanos was a shock, man. He's got the gauntlet on, and he's only missing the Mind Stone.
Yep.
Is the only one he's missing. So I kind of hope we do get a continuation within this season, so we can kind of see what happens. And we already talked a little bit about the misdirect we got from last week with the Thor. So yeah, I have no idea what we're gonna get next week.
Well, if you think about it too, Thanos is a man with a plan. He was a man with a plan when he started the Infinity War, when he was going for and creating that gauntlet. In that particular universe for the Infinity War that we know of from the movie in the MCU, he is trying to cut the universe's population in half to save it. So maybe he's going to cut it in half where half of it is zombified and half of it's alive so that they all could feed on each other. I don't know. This is weird because now we're left on a cliffhanger and we're wondering. Or does he want everybody to be zombies? And that,
I don't know. Like I said, I don't.
Or he
we
could
have no
jump from
idea.
universe to universe. Who knows?
Or they might not show us anything.
Oh,
We might not ever
exactly.
get this.
We can
So-
only speculate and have fun with this, though.
Yeah.
But, that leads me to my number one, that ending scene where we have Banner face off with Wanda. But this time, instead of in the comic, Hulk was actually zombified. He was bitten.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember if he was Banner at the time or if he was Hulk. But regardless, he still had the hunger just as much. They chowed down on a lot of people. He chowed down on Giant Man at that point, who was Hank Pym, but he still retained his powers. They kind of formed a faction where they would actually go after people who were alive and bite them and eat them and, to fuel their hunger. And at this point, it seems like when all those zombies were jumping on him, they couldn't penetrate his skin. It seemed to me when he was battling Wanda at that point. So I'm wondering, in this iteration, do we, and in the continuation, if we do get it, because we do know that there's a season 2, will he be immune to this, and will he be the salvation for mankind at that point?
We'll have to see. It's all. I know. The one thing I remember is that when Wanda went to bite Bruce, his arm turned green for a second. And she couldn't penetrate the skin.
Yeah.
And so he says something like, "Thanks, big guy, for the win," or something like that. So unless there's a zombie out there that has strong enough teeth to bite through Hulk's skin, that would be the only thing.
Ultron?
I don't know. It's all speculation at this point. Yeah.
But
no, Ultron's a robot. Remember, Vision said they can't.
No,
they can't get into a robot.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the cool relation to the comic itself too. There's one part within the comic that makes me laugh all the time. Hulk eats a person, pretty much almost whole, because he as he gets angry, he gets bigger, and he does this the same as he's a zombie, and he devours somebody, and he changes back to Banner, but the leg is protruding outside his body, his stomach, because he couldn't digest him. And they all make a comment, and he's like, "Hey, you don't have a leg sticking out of your stomach at this point, because I couldn't digest him whole because Hulk ate him that way. I'm still hungry. I still have to devour, and I still have the hunger," and it's hilarious. So if you guys are out there, it's available on trade, and I do recommend it. The first 2 trades I highly recommend. The third one goes a little bit more into a tangent, and then we do get a peek at the zombies again in the 2015 version of Secret Wars. So in that one, and I'll go into my notes about this, I talk about it there, but I'm going to talk about it now. Literally, Doom has, within Secret Wars, it's multiverses. So obviously he's bringing a lot of people are colliding together. You got the Council of Reeds. You have different people from different universes within the Marvel universe that are interacting that are the same, but have different histories. And within this, on Battleworld, Doctor Doom actually uses these zombies, to attack as like a bunch of military or a troop to wane off all the people that are trying to get to him. And I think it's pretty cool. So that's a cool aspect about the Secret Wars when they utilize the zombies. And I highly recommend that. The third one goes a little bit more where they go into space. And at the very end of this episode, they talk about going into space for salvation at one point. But the thing is that there is no salvation because they wind up in another universe and the zombies come after them. But that's the comic, and this is a different story, by the way. But it's cool to have a different, perspective on it. And I highly recommend everybody go out and read that if they can.
So a lot of my notes we've already talked about, but let me see what we haven't. Peter, I love Peter not wanting to split up, and Okoye saying, that they don't have horror movies, they have American TV reality instead of horror movies. I thought that was great. I love the fight between Bucky, Zombie Falcon, and Okoye. When she kills Falcon, she apologizes to Bucky, and he says, "I should be sad, but I'm not." What I think was an interesting callback there is in this universe, the events of Falcon and the Winter Soldier would not have happened. So he and Falcon wouldn't necessarily have had
a friendship or a relationship or something.
Yeah. As they had. So it's kind of I think it's kind of a tongue in cheek kind of reference to Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
The fact that he says, "Oh, I should be sad, but I'm not."
Well, it's pretty funny how she splits him in half. Kind of like how Michonne would do, and we know Denai Guerrero is Michonne in The Walking Dead, and it's funny how she does it.
And then I loved seeing Peter with Doctor Strange's cloak on. That was really great. And then, of course, at the end, with it around Ant-Man's head, was another just cool visual for me.
Oh, well, the thing with Peter with the cape, that's actually a nod to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, if you don't recall, because they go into that one Peter Parker's sanctum with Aunt May, and they show all the different suits that Peter has as Spider-Man, and one has a cape, and it looks like a lot like that cape, which is so funny. So it's a good nod to that, because it shows like a willingness from Disney Plus / Marvel to nod towards Sony's stuff, which is Spider-Man Into the Universe, and I really enjoyed that. And it just made me laugh because they actually did that in the comic. They did give Peter a cape at one point, even though I think Kirby was highly against it. But, and on top of that, the head thing with Scott Lang. Can you say Futurama?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, listeners, we have the one Kirk Manley, the guy who actually created the artwork for our podcast right here online right now. And he's going to talk about his favorite moments on the What If Zombies episode. So, Kirk, take it away. What were your favorite moments?
Thanks. Well, first of all, welcome to both of you. I appreciate the opportunity to come on and to talk about some of my favorite things in the whole world, which is Marvel comics, Marvel animation, Marvel movies, and zombies. I mean, it doesn't get any better for me than that.
Yeah, hell yeah, exactly, right?
That's the trifecta. So let's see. So in terms of, first of all, I thought that the episode, first of all, let me start off by saying, I think that the entire What If program so far series has been top notch. And I have no complaints. I mean, I certainly, like everybody, could sit and rate which has been my favorite,
Yeah.
which was my least favorite, but saying
Yeah.
least favorite is really not fair because I've loved them all. But I think that with each episode, it gets harder because I'm like, oh my God, I think that's my favorite episode. And the next one, oh, nope, that's my favorite episode. Nope, nope, that's my favorite. So, I don't know if they can kind of keep that up for me, but I hope so. But I think, there was a lot of, at least on my part,
Hmm.
concern or skepticism as to how successful, how polished, how integrated with the MCU movie universe would be, and how successful that would all be. How the animation was really,
Oh yeah.
biting my nails about how the quality of the animation was going to be. And I tell you, I just I don't have any complaints, and it's just been building and building. Um, the Marvel Zombies is, as of right now, my favorite, but I think Guardians of the Galaxy, which was, I believe, the second one.
Yeah, with T'Challa.
That just, I think that's when, I mean, the first one was fantastic in that all of the introduction to the storytelling and the visuals and the animation and the voices and then of course the cool twist. But in terms of the twisting of the story, there was very little. It was pretty much the same story, just with different characters changed in different roles.
Yes.
I was like, okay, that's cool, but I don't know. And then, boy, with that second episode, we were just
Blown away.
they just blew the doors off, in terms of changing everything. But you guys have probably already talked about that episode, so I won't go into that. So, in terms of this episode, I heard rumor, or I don't know if it's called rumor, but there was talk online about the fact that they had to tone it down. Originally from its original execution online, or on in animation, and that's probably because they probably stuck more closely originally to the books, because I don't know if I'm sure you've both read the books, but they're pretty dark.
Oh, they are very dark.
They are
yeah.
They are really, they are dark. Peter Parker eating Mary Jane and
Aunt May.
And Aunt May, yeah, just as it doesn't get much darker than that.
And his leg holding on by a thread too, a muscle.
Yeah. Some of the best covers in a series ever.
Yeah.
So, I think though that was not a bad thing. I mean, I think that I think it would have been out of character to say, I guess, with the rest of the show, if it had been darker. So I was actually glad that they kind of stayed more consistent with, that was, and yet, still told a great zombie story. I mean, there was jumps and chills and thrills and gore and all that stuff. So, so that was my first thing that I was kind of happy about. And then another thing that impressed me was the balance of action in this one with quiet moments. And quiet moments, I don't mean, silence or, two characters talking. I mean the sequence where Wasp grows to giant size in order to carry them across this ocean of zombies was heart-wrenching, and an amazingly well done hero sacrifice for the greater good moment. And it was shot down from above, looking up, the zombies falling off, and the music is just very heart-wrenching. And there's this, sunset quality to the lighting. And I found it to be a very just beautiful, serene, and yet horrifying and sad moment. And that was of all the episodes to date, there hasn't been that balance of that kind of storytelling.
Yeah,
there's been, what I mean?
Yeah, it's very much like The Walking Dead in a sense, where they do chilling things like that. Somebody sacrificing themselves. I think Jason has already probably mentioned this on House Podcast to go with their coverage. But they are covering the same thing, which is amazing. But I feel the same way.
Well, I think it's an important part of the zombie movie trope.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
One
that's you've got
person
you've got
sacrifice.
this,
Yeah.
you've got the selfish people or the selfish characters who actually sacrifice other people to protect themselves or to save themselves, and then you've got these, you know, heroic moments of people willing to throw their life, you know, aside in order for the greater good or for the larger group. And you know, I think it's an important part of the zombie story,
Yes.
and that they didn't miss that. They didn't, you know, they saw that that's an important thing that needed to be done here. You know, there were a lot of sacrifices. They would, you know, I mean, we in terms of the darkness issue, which I brought up at the beginning, you know, compared to the movies,
Yeah, exactly.
we're losing heroes left and right every episode. You know what I mean?
That is true.
You know, and I guess, you know, being animated, you know, it allows them some room to do that, and doing the multiverse gives them the room to do that too. But
Yeah.
you know, but that feels very real to the comic for me, you know, in the comic book treatments, you know, whereas in the MCU there tends to be a higher survival rate all the time.
Yeah, well, I think they
You
changed
know?
it with this a lot, in a
Yeah.
sense, and they
Yeah.
changed a lot of universes too, and whether or not they collide within the actual MCU, we will see. For the fact that we got Doctor
Yeah.
Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, we got Spider-Man No Way Home coming out, and that's going to be affected as well. And I wouldn't be surprised later on within the MCU, because with that, maybe we'll get mutants. I don't think that the Eternals are going to be the ones that are going to be bringing in mutants. I think this multiverse will. But that's just my thoughts.
Yeah, I think that's a good point and a good observation. I think we were being led to believe that that was that the Eternals were going to somehow, you know, be the catalyst for that. But no, I think you're right. I think it's going to be more wrapped up in the multiverse, and I don't know if it's going to be a alternate universe that merges, or those characters come over from it and become part of, you know, this universe, or whether something's going to happen like Wanda. But if I had to guess, I'm going to guess that the Scarlet Witch will fulfill what she, you know, her storyline from the comics, only in reverse.
Yes, instead of no
And
more
instead-
mutants,
right.
it's all mutants. Yeah.
Correct. And you know, and so she'll, you know, I think that's a very high possibility. But yeah, I think also, you know, I would not be surprised, especially since I've read quotes from Kevin Feige that the animated What If stories are canon.
Oh, awesome.
So those characters can jump over.
Yeah.
If they choose, and there is, again, more scuttle online about
I've heard
at
that
least Captain Carter, for sure.
Oh, yes.
Being somebody who's going to show
Yeah.
up, right? And I would not be surprised if the Doctor Strange that was left alive and trapped in his isolated dark little cube in his universe isn't going to come back as well. And you know, there's something very odd about the Doctor Strange in the preview for No Way Home.
Yeah.
There are some
He's a
things
little
that
off.
people say, oh, he's Mephisto. Yeah, he's a little off. He agrees to do things he wouldn't normally do. He seems very cavalier about taking risk. He's wearing the time stone. You know, there's just weird, some weird kind of stuff going on there. And, you know, that could just be a misdirect, but I wonder if he isn't a replaced version.
Yeah.
Oh, or
And
a
that
Strange Supreme replaced
Yeah.
the Doctor Strange from our universe. That'd be interesting. That would
Correct.
be cool.
Correct. Because no Doctor Strange showed up in WandaVision. Wanda was ripping the fabric of reality to pieces and reformulating her own world as she wanted to, and manipulating all these people and using magic constantly.
Yeah.
There's no way he would not have come. And I think they put out a whole thing about how they didn't want to steal her thunder. They didn't want him to become the, you know, the protector, and instead, you know, she needed to solve this problem on her own. And that all makes good sense in storytelling, and I agree with that. I'm glad that's how it went.
Yeah.
But I think they pulled him from it because they realized they wanted to go this direction with him. And for that to happen, there needs to be evidence of him having not been around.
Which makes sense. Unfortunately, they did re-CG some stuff where they show Strange coming in.
Strange. You think it's strange.
At the very end, but yeah, they think it is. But
exactly.
Could be something else, but a lot of people are speculating about that. To me, I just leave it as what I remembered initially from the first viewing, and I try to keep it that way. Whatever comes, whatever it may, I'll enjoy, because it is all Marvel, and these are the things that I grew up with, just like you did, Kirk, as well as Steve.
Yeah, man.
So what about were there
still growing up.
Any other shocking
I think we all
moments for you from this episode that really stood out?
Steve, I got to ask before I answer your question. Is that a green screen background?
No, he's out with Hulk. Hulk's out. He's out in the forest.
Maybe you're out in California.
I'm in Oklahoma.
Really
That's actually
nice
an image from North Africa, where the goats actually climb up into trees to eat the tree nuts. And so so that's what that picture is. You don't want to see what my actual room looks like.
I've seen documentaries that had them in it.
Yeah, mine's disheveled, so as you all guys know. So it's okay.
Yeah, well,
it's all good.
You're seeing mine, so I don't need to say anything more than...
Well, you're an artist. Everything's all over the place.
Yeah, there you go. Just like inside my head.
Yeah. Well, you came up with great work.
In terms of other things that stood out, for me, Steve, I love seeing some of the secondary or second-tier characters have much broader parts, bigger stage.
Yes.
To the fact that we got to see a Koyo and
Hope, Sharon Carter.
Hope. Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Sharon Carter, exactly. Even Bucky. I mean, even though he's been, other than Winter Soldier, he's really been kind of like a side character, So I think that was a standout, and I really enjoy seeing that, because I think the thing that's been great about Marvel is that they have not sacrificed those roles and that level of character just to get the biggest possible name for their lead, or instead their storytelling is all wrapped up in all of the characters, and they therefore go and get good people to do these roles, and you just want to see more. So that's been a great benefit of the What If series, I think. Another one would be just the level of animation. Again, one of my biggest reservations and concerns was how would the animation be handled. And, animation has come a long way. I don't know if you guys watch much manga or not manga, but anime. And, there's been a growing integration of traditional 2D illustration with CG generated 3D illustration. And a lot of the times it doesn't work. You get this nice 2D art with the characters, and they're interacting, and some of the environments are painted 2D and they're beautiful in the background. And then they bring in this, tank or this robot or something, and it's CG'd and it looks CG'd, and it's like, that is just not working, and they've done a really good job in integrating this. You can sometimes kind of tell that they're CG, but it's hard to know. And maybe it's all CG. I wouldn't be surprised if it's all been done digitally, but they're working hard, just like they did with, I don't mean they as in Marvel, but just like the animators did in Spider-Verse. Spider-Verse is just fantastic, but they created an entire animation program to comic bookify it and 2D-fy it and give it zip tone and, all these things that just made it look like it was an actual comic book brought to life. And I'm just happy.
Like with Spider-Ham.
Yeah, exactly.
Spider-Ham, if you look at how he integrates with all those other images of how they are, he's very different in comparison. And I really enjoyed that aspect. I kind of made the joke a couple episodes ago when we were podcasting how I guess somebody really got feet right because Rob Liefeld could really never draw feet.
Well, along
And
with
he did, and whoever
along with
did
many
the,
other things that he couldn't draw. But
yeah, yeah, Captain Carter. It's like, oh, they sure. I was like, oh wow, they could draw toes and feet. Wow, this is amazing. So I'm sure Rob Liefeld would probably like, you,
Yeah,
I
well.
hate you. But that's been an ongoing joke, obviously, within the comic community, and he embraces it, though.
so yeah, I mean that's been outstanding, I think, and a lot of it is not only I think the weakest part is in the dialogue and the mouth dialogue lineup. I think there's some you can kind of feel like they're not
Yeah.
the CG.
It's not like G.I. Joe back in the 80s, where it's out of sync.
It's a little hard. I think that's the only place where it's falling for
Yeah.
me. But the color, the coloration and the it's really brings that comic
The shadowing, actually, is
the
great.
shading, the shadowing. These large expanse shots. Like last night they had, this episode there was one where I want to say was it a car, and it's a long shot far away. You see them traveling, and way in the background you see the Watcher ghosted out, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean just
Mhm.
very much like a beautiful rendered comic book page, and so yeah, I think that they've done really good job with the lighting, with the color, with the animation overall. I think there've been a few the mouths syncing
Oh.
up, but then the other was the darn tentacles from that creature. Yeah,
Oh.
that was a
Right.
perfect example of that CG
Mhm.
smashing into that 2D looking effect, and it just not feeling like it's in the same environment.
Mhm.
So
No, two worlds
yeah,
are
a little
colliding
bit,
too much at that point, yeah.
Well, it takes you, but
What do you feel about that
yeah,
creature?
how do I feel about that creature? Is that what you just asked?
Yeah, what do you think that creature is something that we'll see soon that was out of
Yeah.
Strange's universe? Something with an eye? I forget the name
There's
of
a
it. But,
there's a
I'm
villain.
thinking that
There's a
might be
famous
it.
villain of his, and I will screw up the name. I'm sure.
It's okay. I screw up all names.
I'm just taking a quick look at it online. Villain.
Right. I think I've heard
Strange.
another
Kuma
podcast
Doric
mention
or
it.
something like that.
I think so.
Uh,
Yeah, and it's not. I don't think it's going to be the first or last time that we'll ever see him.
Oh, no, I
he'll
think
come
yeah,
into the
absolutely.
actual movies at a
and in
certain
fact,
point.
I think we're going to see
Yeah.
Captain Carter again,
Yeah.
who jumped through that because
Yes.
she pops out
Yeah, well,
at Avengers, in front of Fury and Hawkeye, and so my guess is that she will use that portal,
Mm-hmm.
which is obviously opening up alternate universes or whatever, to jump around a little bit, and that
Yep.
may be
Yeah,
how she
that would be
lands in the MCU live action. I don't know.
yeah, we'll
She
get
might need to
Haley
beef up a little
Atwell
bit.
again,
to-
which will be great.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Well, there's a
But
lot
yeah,
of
that,
CG work.
that
They're already
creature
making
is
a
the
She-Hulk
first really
show,
connective
so
thread we've had through 2 episodes where we had the same, that same kind of thing. So it's definitely going to come up again, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, we saw
Yeah.
it first in that
Well,
that
and
first
the
Avenger
second
one.
one
And
was
we see it here,
was
here
the
in
Doctor Strange,
the
right? Is
same
that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
creature.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I wouldn't put it past
Well,
him.
in the comics, he's a very prominent villain of Doctor Strange. And I apologize that I can't remember the name of
It's
it. But more importantly, he's an ancient god of with the kind of like Dormammu, but he also wrote the book that Wanda has there, the what the heck
The
is that called?
Darkhold, or what was it called?
The
Not
Darkhold,
Yeah,
right.
the Darkhold. Yeah.
Right. In the comics, he is the actual writer of the Darkhold,
Ah,
Okay.
putting down all of his dark magic into the one book. And so, it kind of lines up, so they've introduced the Darkhold, they've shown us a tentacle monster. I think I'd be shocked if we don't see that character. Now, whether he'll be the main bad villain, I don't know, but
that'd be cool.
that's a possibility. Yeah. One criticism
Okay.
of this episode, I didn't like the fact that it hinged again on Hank Pym.
Oh, really?
I didn't understand why they would do that.
Well, like in the comic where Hank Pym was pretty much chopping up T'Challa and eating him. Are you talking about that? Or
Well, that's true.
Well,
no. I
I
like
get-
that
yeah.
switch. I
get what you're saying. Like, we have 2 episodes here that hinged on something
Yes.
with Hank Pym and with the Pym
oh,
family.
okay, yeah, the
basically.
two episodes,
You
yeah,
know. Yeah.
Right. Well, there was the death of the Avengers.
yeah,
one,
the murder mystery.
Right.
where all the Avengers get murdered, and it's him that does it because
Right.
Hope got killed in a mission for Fury, and he's been on a revenge ever since. But it just struck me as kind of odd that then here they do the whole, Hank Pym going to get Janet Pym
Yeah.
or Janet Van Dyne or whatever, and
Right.
and she brings the virus back.
Right.
The only thing I can think of as to why they did that is because they want the virus or the whatever it is that's causing the zombie infection to have come from the quantum zone.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That's what
I mean,
I think.
for
but he
some-
was also the
right. I
creator
think
of
in the
everything too. That's why they got into the
Right.
quantum zone. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that for some reason that's important. One thing has been clear about the Marvel execution in the Marvel universe is that nothing is done without some
Reason.
sort of reason.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we may not see it for years, but one theory I was reading was that they want to do that so that they can, because part of the storyline in the Marvel Zombies comics is in the second series. In the first series, they've basically consumed the entire planet, and they're still driven with this hunger that they can't. Right. So I may be getting this slightly wrong, but they summon Galactus.
Oh, they eat Galactus,
and then they consume,
and
they
it become a
consume
hive
him.
mind at that point too. Yeah.
And they gain the power cosmic, which allows them to take themselves to other universes.
Yep.
And then they just start portaling to other universes and consuming them.
And that's how they leak into the 2015 Secret Wars at that point and become Doom's army at one point on a battle world.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, I think they're looking at how can we set this up so that we could do a Marvel Zombies, whether it's a TV series, on Disney Plus, or a standalone movie, or part of the Secret Wars storyline, or whatever.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's where the MCU is going to actually point towards with all these multiverses, because that's what really stemmed from the 2015 Secret Wars story, was all multiverses. You got the Council of Reeds, you have Doom, the God Doom at that point. You got everybody working together that are different versions of themselves and learning from from each other, from their own universe. Like I think there was a Peter Parker that actually had an Uncle Ben that was still around, and things of that nature. Right. And oddly enough, within this particular episode, it was the first time they actually mentioned Ben Parker in the MCU, which was pretty pivotal for that. Regardless that it didn't look like Tom Holland or sound like him to the most degree. But we did get an older version of the Spider-Man costume that was from years ago. That was in cartoon form. I guess it had to be a legal issue, and I brought it up to Steve earlier, and I thought that was interesting. But I liked it nonetheless.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too, for sure. Great to see Bucky, wielding the shield full force.
Oh,
I mean, he's
yeah.
thrown it, used it a couple times, but
Yeah.
and the great callbacks to the lines like when he puts the shield through him and
This is the end of the line.
then yeah, this is the line. So yeah, just some great
The trope
tip
of
of the hats
the
to
tip of the hat to the actual MCU Captain America series between Bucky and
Yeah.
Steve's
yeah
the relationship, and it's like, this is the end of the line, and then he takes the shield.
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's really helped to have the actual actors.
Yes.
I think their voices have just made it that much easier to fall into this and feel as if it's just a continuation and not some sort of aberration. I know, and I was on with Jason with his podcast, What If Podcast, for the premiere.
Yeah.
And we talked about how, I didn't feel like the person that did Steve Rogers' voice was spot on. I just thought, and other people did. And,
I did not look at the credits, so I didn't know. And I was like, it sounds a lot like him, but I was like, okay. And then Steve corrected me, and I was like, wow. That was, for me not looking,
and and not having Tom Holland.
Well, I think that's a Sony Marvel thing right there, and
Yeah.
I think the legalities,
probably.
if all things, they could always gotten Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, but I totally agree with you. It was great to hear, like, Denai Guerrera, those Emily Van Camp, those secondary characters. Even them, they're bringing those actors in.
Evangeline Lilly,
to use them. Yeah, Evangeline Lilly.
Lilly, Sebastian Stan.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that it's just great. They really thought, it shows that they've really spent the time and the money to think this thing through and do it properly and not, half-assed.
And story-wise, too, if you think about it, there's a lot of heart in this particular episode, because it's like Hope giving herself up, sacrificing herself, Peter always showing a positivity and explaining that in the end, how he lost his mother, his father, Aunt May, and Uncle Ben. And oddly enough, he didn't mention MJ, so I guess MJ kind of died at one point. But
well, I think they're trying to. Yeah, they're not. They're being a little coy about that whole thing, I think.
Yeah.
What's going to happen with that from a romantic point of view for him. But I agree. And it was also, no one in the comics, they do, but no one in the movies yet has confronted Spider-Man with, why are you always so chipper and so cheery? Now, I think, realistically, he's only been Spider-Man a very brief time.
Mm-hmm.
But, part of his whole personality in the comics is his jovial laughter. But here but as the scene you're talking about, they let us in to see that, all of that laughing and humor and teasing and joking and positivity is really his defense mechanism.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he's coping.
Yeah.
It's coping. I suppose coping mechanism is a better term to use.
I'm sure we'll probably hear or see more of that in No Way Home. Because from the rumors, and a lot of people are speculating, it's even more and more that we're getting 3 Spider-Men. And I'm looking forward to that. I would love to see.
Yeah, I hope they do that. I mean, it's really hard to tell. You know, they do a great job. I mean, and as a result, things are unpredictable and unsure. When WandaVision came out, everyone was convinced that
it was Mephisto.
We were watching, we were watching the machinations of Mephisto, and that he would be the big bad. And then, it wasn't that at all.
No.
And then Falcon Winter Soldier came out, and we're like, the big crime boss there, or the deal maker, I can't remember their name. Is it the Kingpin? Is it this? Is it Red Skull? He's bad. The Power Broker. I guess is the name.
Broker,
right? It's going to be Red Skull, maybe blah blah blah. No, it was Agent Carter. So or maybe a Skrull imposter. We don't.
Yeah, I kind of brought that up at one point too. It'd be interesting.
yeah. But so then Loki happens, and we're like, okay, the man at the end of whatever, or the one who remains, right? The
Yeah,
character
the
at
one
the
who
end,
remains.
and
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, this is going to be some old guy we've never met before, some alien character or something, because that's what it was in the comic, and it's not going to be anything big, blah, blah. And the doors open up, and there's Kang,
Yeah.
Right.
and you're like, oh shit, they went there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They finally
exactly.
did.
They
Yep.
set us up
Yeah.
2 series in a row. And then we're like, okay, we know how this works. And then they said, no, you do
No.
not. You don't know how this works.
Well, I kind of broke all that down with all the Easter eggs, and I think the last 2 episodes, Steve, and I was like,
Yeah.
it's Kang. It's Kang.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they named him something else, which,
Well,
he who remains.
he is multiple different identities throughout the different time periods.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. And so,
Which only
it was
clues us
just a great
into more
twist.
getting the Fantastic Four in, because he's related to the Reed Richards. So.
Yeah, he's a distant relative
So
of
I'm,
Reed Richards. Yeah.
I can't wait for that. So we have that
Yeah.
to look forward
I
to.
just read today. I don't know if you guys talked about it or covered it, but they just announced today 4 more dates for Marvel movies.
Yes, they have.
They're all in.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all in 2024. No indication of what they are.
Oh,
But
right. Okay.
they're 2024, so a lot of people are speculating the Fantastic Four is going to be one of them, maybe one of the X-Men, something like that. And I saw somebody posted up a comment saying, "I'll bet you anything that February date gets moved to April 4th, 2020, 2024."
Yeah.
So it'll be
Yeah.
4/4/24.
Yeah.
Great. We have to wait 3 years for that. Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta wait 3 years to find out if that theory. I wonder if no one's gonna remember.
It's like, hold on. The only Fantastic Four movies I remember is that Roger Corman movies, those 2 other movies, and that really bad one, Josh Trank.
Or they'll be like, I remember there was a podcast I was listening to 3 years ago that said that.
Yeah, right. Some guy predicted it. What the hell? What was his name?
Yeah.
Manley of
He
Kirk?
read it on the internet. He read it on the internet.
Very, very cool.
But yeah, Kirk,
So-
what we're gonna move on to is Steve and I were moving into notes. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna continue on, and you could jump in if you want. Steve, where did you leave off on your last one?
I had finished all mine up. We were into your notes there that we
Oh,
had already
okay.
discussed.
One note that I had from the episode that is pretty much like an Easter egg or something that references to something within the cinematic universe, Kirk, that I liked was the giant slingshot that Peter does with his webs to get the train to start working.
Yeah.
It's a basic full reversal of what had happened within Spider-Man 2, if you remember, with Tobey Maguire when he was trying to stop the train. From Doc Ock. But, in this case, he was doing it to help his friends, and he was putting his life in jeopardy from the zombies at hand, and I thought that was a pretty unique and very cool thing. It showed the tensile strength of his webs, too, by the way.
It was a nice echo of that.
Yeah, it was. The next one I had was Hope Van Dyne went all giant woman within the episode, but succumbed to being eaten and turned into a zombie giant woman.
Yeah.
And, this was in the comic as well, but Hank did the same with T'Challa. And I mentioned it before, but with him eating. But he also ate Galactus, and he was a giant zombie at that point, too. So, if you recall, and he was one of the leading factions of it between him, Hulk, and Cap, and everybody else. Because they were the original Avengers, and they were leading that. And just like in the comic itself, they were pretty much, unlike within the show, the comic versions were conscious of themselves, had a they knew what they were doing, they knew who they were before, but they just had that hunger, and they were just constantly deteriorating. But they were just basing it on that hunger. Whereas they're just straight out zombies, which is kind of a cool twist. And I like
Well, they're
that.
zombies, but they have their superpowers.
They know, and they're conscious of using them. You do see Wanda, though,
Right.
showing affection or emotion at the very end as a zombie when Vision's gone. She goes crazy. And it showed that she held on to something. She couldn't vocalize it. So I guess they didn't want to pay Olsen money to come in and voice something as a zombie.
Yeah, yeah. Well, she was busy. She's busy. She just finished filming, I read the other day,
Oh yeah,
for Doctor Strange. So
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I don't know when all this dialogue was done. Probably years ago.
that is probably over a year and a half ago, if anything.
Yeah, at least. Yeah, yeah. I wanted to just jump back quick. Did you notice in that sequence that you were just going over a minute ago with Peter, Spider-Man trying to do the train with his webs?
Yeah.
The zombies come up from behind him.
Yes.
And almost get him
Mm-hmm.
before, and so the spider sense just not happening.
Not happening at all. Yeah.
Right.
Not happening.
Maybe
at
he
all,
didn't.
almost.
Maybe
Yeah.
in this particular world, he doesn't have spider sense.
Yeah, maybe. It's just an interesting.
Yeah, that's an interesting
thing that
thought.
was left out.
I hadn't thought about
Yeah,
that.
same here. One other that I liked was the buses and the train cars that Peter uses to make a fort with his webbing within the city was just remarkable. But it also just reminded me of the Sam Raimi trailer that we were supposed to get that we never got, but you have seen on YouTube, or you probably have seen in deleted scenes of when Spidey had webbed up the bunch of burglars or thieves within a helicopter between the World Trade Center.
The towers. Yeah.
Yes,
the towers.
but in this case they used trains, buses, and everything. But what was that to stop Falcon Zombie to come in and fly in, you know? But I thought it was a cool point because we got to see something of his power, his tensile strength, and what he could do. Just like within that trailer that we never were able to have because of 9/11, unfortunately.
What about the death sequence for the Falcon Zombie?
Oh God!
That was pretty intense, man. She cut him totally in half.
Yes.
Yeah,
That was
this
bru- that
one.
was
This one
brutal.
was this one we got the most gore. I think it still wasn't. It wasn't a lot of gore.
No,
but
they toned
we
it
did
down.
Get some,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Did you like the Futurama reference with Ant-Man or Scott Lang?
I didn't. I'm not a Futurama follower, so
He's got the head,
no,
and he's.
I missed that.
But it's also a reference to Mars Attacks, if you can remember, because they
Mars-
had the
yes,
head in the
yeah,
but-
in the bottles, yeah.
But in this
jars.
case, he's flying away, and he I forget what he states from Harry Potter, but it was a spell for levitation. But I thought that was pretty funny.
That is pretty funny. I loved the fact that the cape was a character.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't like
No,
that in the
I mean,
comics at all.
No, he was he. I don't think it was even in the comics.
No.
But they treat him. And I say him, it, her, like it, like a character. They do it in the movies as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
It has personality. It has, consciousness. It knows when, the people are threatened, and it jumps into action. And, it's, I think there's more to that,
Yeah. I'm looking forward to
like
more
maybe
of it.
it's this, maybe there's a spirit that's, encapsulates that cape.
Yeah.
All right. Well, towards the end, we love to go into quotes. So, Steve, what do you have for quotes?
The first one I've got is the Kirk guy, who I didn't realize he was from Ant-Man. I haven't rewatched the movies so many times, but when he says your robot arm is waterproof, how handy, pun intended. I thought was
Yeah, he always talked about the Baba Yaga too, which was part of his information too, which is so funny. But
that's another great character that you would not see, participating in, much of the story in any movie. But here you could give them, a full, partnership in the team, and it was great. Yeah. Baba Yaga, by the way, is the twofold. One is a character. Well, there's the actual mythological character, but in literature and everything else in history. But in the comics, in Hellboy, Baba Yaga is a villain of Hellboy's.
Oh, okay.
But more importantly, Baba
cool.
Yaga is what they call John Wick.
Actually,
Which
John,
yes,
that's not what they call
yes, it
John
is.
Wick.
But it's also
John
it's
Wick
about
is
a
not
witch.
the Baba Yaga. John Wick is the one you send to kill the Baba Yaga. He's the one you sent to kill the boogeyman. So-
That is true. Yeah. So apparently Steve has been listening to Adrenaline Cinema podcast, and I don't listen to myself as
Well,
I
having
reference
watched
myself.
the Resurrection Matrix preview, I'm wondering if John Wick is just Neo trapped inside the Matrix.
Makes sense.
That would be cool. It's a movie inside a movie
Yeah, there
inside a
you go.
movie. All right. So Keanu plays this and this. All right. We already mentioned it before. Bucky saying, "Sorry, pal. I guess this is the end of the line," which references all the lines within the Captain America unit
Yeah,
movies.
that's one of my favorites. From that.
The first two, as it were.
Shuma,
Yeah,
I'm
that was
sorry,
my
let me
favorite.
interrupt. Steve, did you say Shuma Gorath
What? For
is
what?
the villain with the tentacle? That's the name of the. I thought maybe one of you said that Shuma Gorath. You were right. If you did, if not, then
No, I think you
Nope,
tried
I
to
didn't.
say it. You tried to say it, and
You try to say it, so
we'll
you
give you the credit for
you
that
heard
one, 'cause
yourself.
I got nothing. I know that
You
like
got
I said,
the credit,
another
dude.
podcast did say it, but I had no clue what the name was. I wasn't going to even try to repeat it.
yeah. So that's the character that
I
has the
couldn't remember.
tentacles and is from an alternate universe and is a dark god and wrote the Darkhold book.
My next quote is just when Hope, after she she says, "Guys, I'm covered in Sharon." So when
Oh,
she,
that was great. That was great. That was good.
The actual episode needed levity, I think, really do, and I said it before because I think a lot of people are trying to watch
Yeah.
this with families, so they're trying to have some sort of huge demographic, so to like suffocate some of the violence or the gore, they put
Yeah.
humor into it, which kind of eases it up a little bit, like with the blam 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 thing from Happy, as
Yeah.
he's shooting
yeah.
from the special the
Repulsor,
hand repulsor that Tony used
Civil War.
from Civil War at that point. Yep. So he's doing that, and then he comes back and he's like, blah, blah, as he turns. So he got that. Also, like with Scott Lang saying, "Oh, watch out, she's a man-eater." There, I'm doing it again. And that's when Wanda
Right.
comes into the room when she's all zetted out. Yeah, that's all I got when it came to quotes. But I honestly, I think it equaled out between the drama, the humor, and the gore, just to make it a decent overall
Yeah.
family thing. Obviously, you wouldn't show it to your
Yeah,
9-year-old child. Probably the demographic would be 12 and up. I would think.
my last one is when T'Challa and Bucky walk into the room and they explain what Vision's been doing. Scott says, "Well, in Vision's defense, I got nothing." So, because Vision saved his life, apparently, but ahead, yeah.
But now he's just stuck ahead, so he could give good head.
Brum-bum. That's not very family friendly.
Well, we're not family friendly. We say this is for adults
I'm
anyway,
teasing.
so we have fun with it. We
I'm
can say whatever
teasing.
we want, man.
So, Kirk, one of the
Plus,
things. Oh,
I'm
go ahead.
All right.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to comment on the fact that we were talking about the fact that Doctor Strange, the Supreme Strange,
Mm-hmm.
is still alive, and that episode
Yeah.
ended in such a way that we could see that character coming again. Agent Carter is going to pop through and everything else. I think this ended in a way that lends itself to a sequel.
Absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we will
absolutely,
see that.
yeah.
I think we will see
Yeah.
that next season because they have been renewed for a second season already. I read that a month or so ago.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Yeah, season
and,
2.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did it again. Only then bring in a whole new cast of characters. They've got to, you could have some cosmic, you could
Hmm.
introduce cosmic characters, Guardians of the
Oh,
Galaxy and stuff like that, because you got to fight Thanos.
Right.
Um,
or
Nova. I
Nova.
don't know if they'll introduce anybody that's not already been introduced in the MCU. That would be interesting if they did.
That would be an
Yeah,
interesting take. So that way they could have a voice actor do it, and they can necessarily just hire somebody who's
yeah.
completely different for the live action, and then be like, okay, well,
I
this is a
wonder if they'll
different
do
universe.
that.
Okay, this is
Hmm.
the live
Yeah, I wonder
action
if they'll do
MCU.
that. That would be cool. I
That
would
would be
love to see
cool.
them do that. I don't know if they will, but I would love to see them do. I mean, in a sense, they're doing that if they bring any of these alternate universe versions, like Captain Carter. That's kind of creating a new character and then bringing it
Hmm.
into the MCU. But I wonder if they'll ever, if they would take the risk to introduce an additional character
Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
format and then bring them to live action. I don't know. Well,
Yeah, well, we never got to see Adam Warlock after
yeah, I think
Guardians
he'll be
2,
in Guardians
so
3.
we got to have him some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, which would be cool. Hopefully
who
that'll be
knows?
sooner than later. James Gunn is still thriving on the
Yeah, I
Suicide
loved
Squad,
I
which
loved
I
it.
really enjoyed.
I thought it was great, but
funny and humorous.
it's not a Marvel movie.
No, no, not at all. Not at all.
No, not at all.
So Kirk,
Not at all.
go ahead, Mark. No, I was just gonna kind of explain the format here of what we do as we're wrapping up. We kind of go into podcast recommendations. If there's anything you're listening to that you think the listeners would find interesting, do you have any podcasts that you might want to recommend?
Sadly, I haven't been doing a lot of podcast listening of late. I kind of went through a period of doing that a lot, and then kind of got out of it.
Hmm.
So I don't have any podcasts really. I mean, I love a lot of different kinds of things. Obviously I listen to a bunch of Jason's podcasts, and I'm sure you guys are followers of that. And
But any general recommendations
Yep.
you would have for our listeners that you would recommend for them?
I'm a big fan of Michael Rappaport's podcast. I don't know if I haven't listened to it in a couple months, but I used to listen to it, religiously. I don't love everything, he says, but a lot of what, how he approaches things, and it just cracks me up. He makes me laugh, and politically, I tend to find myself in sync with him. In general, in terms of podcasts, or in general,
Podcast or anything, YouTube channels,
Anything.
other creators.
I've really gotten into when I'm drawing. I go through different periods, and as an illustrator, you I think most artists spend a lot of time listening to music, and it's often inspirational. And I listen to a wide diversity of from classical to rap to but I also love listening to like movie music, that things like the Inception soundtrack, or the Batman soundtracks, and they just they help focus my energies. But so that's a high recommendation. But I listen to a lot of blues, and that's been playing a lot for me lately. But sometimes I get bored with the music, and if I put on something that I want to watch, that becomes problematic, because then I start watching it and not working.
You're
So
watching it.
I found a kind of in between, which is I'm really into science, and there's tons of these great YouTube scientists who are on YouTube talking about a lot of the new astronomical discoveries and mysteries that are unfolding, and there's so much going on in the world right now with the pandemic, with politics, with global warming and the environment, and there's so much to distract us from any other kind of things that are going on, and we tend to be very, at least in this house, kind of focused on a couple of major issues, and we spend all our time thinking and talking about that stuff. But as a result, there's all this futuristic discoveries and the science that's going on that I don't think people are necessarily aware of. But the astrophysics has just exploded. And the things that we're discovering in the whether it's Earth-like planets or dark energy, and understanding dark matter and how that fills some of the equation that's been missing for forever about what makes up the universe. And so I have a few of these scientist guys that I listen to their videos. They tend to be long, and they it kind of drones in the background.
Okay.
And I get, when I hear, wow, that's cool, and I keep working, and it's kind of back. It's almost, yeah, it's really, it's
Yeah,
interesting.
very cool.
So yeah, I recommend it.
Then you
Yeah.
put on your Spotify
Very cool.
playlist after that too.
Well, for me, the one that I jotted down tonight was Strange Indeed, which is a Podcastica podcast, and they should be finishing up their coverage of Sweet Tooth this week. That's our friends Paik and Rima, who are covering Sweet Tooth on Strange Indeed.
Yeah.
I started watching that. I think I have 3 episodes left, or two or 3 episodes left, probably just 2. It had me so strong in the first 4 episodes, 3 episodes. And then I just felt like it became, it kind of lost its direction for me, and I couldn't stay with it. I don't know if it picked up again or,
I mean,
or
I
what.
enjoyed it. I've enjoyed this rewatch, and I've been sending them voicemails, so I enjoy it.
Yeah, good.
Well, for me, it would be the continued coverage of What If from House Podcastica and TV Podcast Industries. So I hope that they recommend us as we do for them and their points of views with the show's adaptations of these characters. So yeah, I just like listening to their different takes. So I've been keeping up with that lately, and that's been fun. And to submit your feedback, well, we can be heard on Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, or whatever podcast player of choice that you use. If ratings are available, please give us a rating or review if possible on any of those platforms. We really would appreciate it.
You can check out our Facebook group, which is facebook.com/panels2pixels.
And you can check out our website, panels2pixels.com, podcast.com, panels2pixelspodcast.com. And it's currently down now, but I'm hoping after my move and the changes, I'll settle down and I'll sit down and take over and get something out there for you just to pinpoint and reference, and hopefully get some of the podcasts played onto that as well.
Mark, I'd love to plug something that I'm working on right
Absolutely,
now. If that's
please.
all right.
Go ahead.
With the COVID and the conventions having been on hold, I've been doing a lot of other things and haven't been doing a lot of what people kind of got used to seeing of me, which was episodes of The Walking Dead, done in tribute format as illustrations, episodic versions. And so there was, the Pandemic show was going to happen in September on the 17th, 18th, and 19th.
Yes.
And I was scheduled to go there, and I was preparing a lot of new stuff to bring to that. I don't know, a number of pieces. And so I've put together, I'm going to try and do a whole release weekend tribute event.
Awesome.
Coming up. I've been doing some teasers, posted about it. I haven't announced yet the exact, it's going to be here in September. It's coming up this weekend. I'm going to, post up some details about when it's coming and kind of what's going to be involved. But I hope people will look out for that. Follow me on Twitter at BatmanKM or Instagram at BatmanKM, or go to my website, studiokm.com. There'll be information there as well about it. But it'll be it should be fun. I'm going to release different pieces each day over a 3-day weekend period, and have some special deals and opportunities to get package deals, and also get incentives like original sketches and original drawings if you buy certain packages or whatever. So
Awesome.
Should be a lot of
Awesome.
fun.
I have absolutely loved your heroes getting vaccinated Twitter from Batman KM. So
Well, I haven't given up on that. I'm still, I was cranking out for a period there, almost 2 a week, and then down to 1 a week. And it's been a couple weeks since I've done one, but I'm kind of focused on getting these pieces done now for this TWD Tribute Art
Nice.
Weekend. But I will get back to that because sadly, there's still need for people to take seriously the importance of getting vaccinated. So, so then there's still a need for it.
Well, all links will be provided below on your podcast player of choice on our notes for where you could reach out to Kirk and get his artwork or go to his website and purchase. So keep that in mind, everybody. Just check that out. We will be providing that as well as in our Facebook as well.
The scientist that I follow on YouTube that I was recommending is Anton Petrov.
Oh.
So if people want to look to Anton, Anton Petrov, Petrov.
Cool.
He's got some fantastic pieces I recommend people check out.
Awesome.
We also have an email address where you can send us an email at panels2pixels1@gmail.com. That's panels2pixels1. The 2 is spelled out right in the middle, and the number 1@gmail.com.
And you can find us on YouTube if you search Panels to Pixels Podcast. And just please give us a thumbs up or subscribe to us if you like the content there. A lot of people like to listen to us on YouTube, it seems.
Next week, we will be covering the next episode of What If. Thank you so much, Kirk, for being with us tonight.
Yeah.
It was my pleasure, guys. I appreciate it.
Do you have anything else that you want to plug before we get to our signing off here?
No, I think that's good. I appreciate the opportunity to let people know about that event that's coming up.
No problem.
To start looking for that, and it's a pleasure. I love talking about Marvel and comics and animation and film. So anytime you want me back on?
Absolutely. I'm going to be needing a co-host here in a few weeks when Mark's in the dark in the basement for a little while. So
yeah, I'm in the process of moving, and I'm going to be moving from 2 different places till I settle in someplace. So so Steve will have an open chair, as it were, and I
okay.
Fill. So if you're more than willing, you're more than welcome. So.
Okay, sounds good.
And where else can
be in touch?
Yeah, absolutely.
And where else can listeners hear us? Well, I can be heard on the Adrenaline Cinema podcast on the Pirate Core Entertainment Network, where we cover action films, adventure films, and suspense films. Also on the Pirate Core Entertainment Network, you could also see Mr. Kirk Manley's artwork, because there are always links at piratecoreentertainment.com. So check that out and check out where you could find Kirk's artwork so you could submit some sort of work for him to do for you. You know, you do a lot of commission sales, I notice, at conventions, Kirk. So a lot of people love your stuff. I love it. I have a ton of it at home. Actually, right now it's packed.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
But
appreciate that.
And we will be asking you probably in a later date to do the Adrenaline Cinema podcast artwork as well. So to complete it,
that'd be great.
Which you have already done for Pirate Core Entertainment. So check that out, people, ladies and gentlemen. It's amazing, and all you guys know that I'm a pirate fan.
And as always, I send voicemails to various different podcasts that I listen to, and that people appreciate hearing me talk. I don't know, I guess.
I think, Steve, when I was on with Jason for the first episode of What If, you were the only voice question that we had.
Yeah, for that first one, I think I was the only
voicemail,
one.
Yeah.
And now everybody else is jumping on board.
Yeah, it was great.
But he live Steve's.
It was awesome.
He live Steve's, so he got to listen to his other stuff on other podcasts when he talks about the movie or the show or whatever they're talking about, and he's watching it and he's giving his perspective as he sees it, and verbally, and it's fun to listen to because it's a different format.
Oh, awesome.
I give about a 2 minute running commentary as I'm watching the show, because that's easier for me than to at the very end try to throw everything together. So
yeah.
All right, well, that was our show tonight. I just want to thank Kirk Manley for being on and hanging out with us. I know it was a bit late, it was a little rushed, but we had a good time, and you brought a great, cool insight, and we can't thank you more than enough, and you are more than welcome to come back, sir. So...
Oh, thank you very much. It was a pleasure being here, and I'd love to come back.
Cool, awesome. So with that, I'm Mark.
I'm Steve.
I'm Kirk.
And this was Panels to Pixels, and we'll see you on the next panel. Good night, everybody.
All right, guys. Take care. Good night.
Good night.